How's it going, everybody? It's Cheese, and welcome back to the third Sunday breakdown of 2020 F1 season. Today, we're going to be going to the Formula One Grand Prix in Portimao, the Autodrome International of Algarve in Portimao, Portugal. So this one was a pretty interesting one. We were coming off a very close finish between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. They were both in the battle for the championship, and this was the third race. We wanted to see who would stay ahead on the third race, and we got our results. Results are in. It was a fun one, so we'll see how it goes. We'll go through each free practice, qualifying, and then go through the race, and then check out the race results and analyze them just a little bit there. If you guys do enjoy, leave a like on the video, consider subscribing, and without any further ado, let's roll the intro. Alright then, let's get into the Portuguese Grand Prix. This is one that we have most years. It is like nothing new like Imola or something like Turkey, for instance. Turkey has been one that has not been there for a little bit, and I think other ones like we have this year, I think that's basically it. Yeah, so Turkey and Imola. Emilia Romagna. Yeah, so those two are pretty new, but Portugal is one that we have consistently and we know pretty well. So let's talk about it. It's a fast-paced circuit. It's pretty quick, and you have to be quick here. So practice one was going to set the tone for it. Of course, you do have to take it with a grain of salt as it is first practice. As I always say that. We did have Callum Ilott, guy who I think completely deserves an F1 seat in the Alfa Romeo Racing for Antonio Giovinazzi during free practice one. So going from the back of the grid, we have Nikita Mazepin setting a 124.2. Really rough start for him, as he was like 2 seconds behind Nicholas Latifi in 19th place. But Mick Schumacher in 18th. Callum Ilott with 17th. Very nice pace there in his first time in an F1 car, I believe. Sebastian Vettel in 16th, Kimi in 15th, Fernando in 14th, Yuki Tsunoda in 13th, Daniel Ricciardo in 12th, Lance Stroll in 11th, Ocon in 10th, Carlos Sainz in 9th, Lando Norris in 8th, and George Russell in 7th place. I stopped there because he set a 120.5. That was 8 tenths behind Valtteri Bottas. Incredible pace, just crazy what he did in that first free practice session. I'm just absolutely boggled by it. Top 10. What are you doing, George? George, crazy. Pierre Gasly in 6th, Lewis Hamilton in 5th. Yeah, he was 2 places behind Lewis Hamilton, which is just absolutely wild. Charles Leclerc in 4th, Sergio Perez in 3rd, Max Verstappen in 2nd, and Valtteri Bottas in 1st. Then you go to the second practice session, and you'll find George Russell still in good position in 13th, still very nice. 6 back from where he was before, but still a very nice position. Nikita Mazepin in 20th, Nicholas Latifi in 19th, Mick Schumacher in 18th, Giovinazzi back in the car for FP2 in 17th, Kimi in 16th, Seb in 15th, Yuki in 14th, George, as I said, with the 120.9 in 13th, Lando Norris in 12th, Pierre in 11th, Sergio Perez in 10th, Lance Stroll in 9th with a 120.4. So very close between George Russell and Lance Stroll. They're very close. Daniel Ricciardo in 8th place. Charles Leclerc falling back a little bit from his lucky 5 spot. I think that's where we're going to set him this year. Daniel Ricciardo is a lucky 7 most of the time. Charles Leclerc is a lucky 5 most of the time. But that's where we'll have them. Esteban Ocon in 6th, Fernando Alonso in 5th, showing that real pace of the Alpine. You always find them right next to each other, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-10 usually is where we do find them, but pushing up into the 5 and 6 spot, very nice for them finding some pace there. Carlos Sainz in fourth, Valtteri Bottas in third, Max Verstappen in second, and Lewis Hamilton in first. Lewis Hamilton setting a 1:19.83, which is a very nice time indeed. Moving on to Saturday now. Right before qualifying, you have the third free practice session. Nikita Mazepin also goes slowest one to 120.6. Nicholas Latifi in 19th. Seb in the 18th, really struggling for some pace here. Hopefully he can find it by the end of the season. George Russell in 17th. Lance Stroll in 16th. Mick Schumacher 15th, very nice from him in the Haas Ferrari. Fernando Alonso in 14th. Giovinazzi 13th. Ricciardo in 12th. Yuki in 11th. Kimi in 10th, Pierre Gasly in 9th, Lando Norris in 8th, Carlos Sainz in 7th, Charles Leclerc in 6th, Ocon in 5th, Perez in 4th, Valtteri Bottas in 3rd, Lewis Hamilton in 2nd, and Max Verstappen in 1st, sitting 1:18.4. First time that they broke the 19 second barrier this weekend, which was pretty nice to see them do that. And then moving on to qualifying now, you have our 3 qualifying sessions, Q1, Q2, Q3. Now, we did have quite some interesting Q1 knockouts. And I say that because you usually don't see these guys get knocked out in Q1. You see them go on to Q3, which I just didn't know. Nikita Mazepin in the Haas and Mick Schumacher in the Haas, 20th for Nikita, 19th for Mick. Not surprising there, as they're both good drivers, but just haven't found their pace in that old car yet. And you have Nicholas Latifi in 18th. What I did find interesting was Lance Stroll and Danny Ricciardo in 17th and 16th, respectively, with 1:19.8. They didn't break that 19-second barrier, which was a little bit surprising. I thought they would have had the pace. But also, Lance Stroll and Ricky are pretty good drivers. Some of them, sometimes they do get hate, but overall, they're really good drivers, and I was surprised to see them get out this early, especially in a circuit which they're both experienced in. It's not like they're rookies or this is the first time that they're seeing it. They're both experienced. So yeah, I was just a little bit jolted, surprised, but it is what it is. It's all right. It is all right. So going here, we have Q2, which I'm going to talk about what the time George Russell put in and how it correlates to Q1. But you have Kimi putting in a 19.8, setting him in 15th fastest overall, getting that back spot in Q2. Yuki in 14th, Fernando in 13th, Giovinazzi in 12th, and then George Russell with the 1:19.019, very fast lap from the Brit himself. But what I found interesting is that is a 1:19.109. Now remember that as I say the time of Seb and Q3. Seb set a 1:19.659. Now this is the top 10 shootout. You're trying to get as close to the grid as you can. Now Lando Norris set a 1:19.116. Now, mind you, in the previous times he had set 1:18.7 and 1:18.4 very fast, but he slowed down. I think that if George had been able to get into the top 10, he might have been able to compete for a 6th place, 7th place, which is just crazy. I think that's maybe where he belongs, 6th or 7th place. And I think that he is out-qualifying his car right now. 11th place and 18th place for 2 teams. That's just 2 different spectrums. Very different. Seb getting into the top 10 nicely, though, in Q3. Pierre Gasly in 9th, Charles Leclerc in 8th, Lando Norris in 7th, Ocon in 6th, Carlos Sainz in 5th, Perez in 4th, Max Verstappen in 3rd, Lewis Hamilton in 2nd, and Valtteri Bottas qualifying pole position. Nice way for him to start off the weekend with a pole position. I enjoy seeing Valtteri Bottas and Max Verstappen on poles. As much as I do love seeing Lewis Hamilton, I don't really want to see him every weekend being on pole position. So it is nice to see Valtteri Bottas share the joy with him and then Perez also being the top 5 with him. Ferrari's doing a nice job. I did not suspect that they would be doing this well in the season, but they are breaking my expectations, which is pretty interesting. Now let's talk about this race. This race was interesting from a technical perspective. If you do think about it, it was a race of seconds. You had to get that 1 second in between in order to win this race, and it was a race of management. We did have one DNF that caused a safety car, a full safety car, and at the second lap, Kimi Räikkönen was stuck behind a slipstream of Giovinazzi, and when getting out, he wasn't able to move out of the way fast enough when he was closing up on Giovinazzi during the straight, and clipped his edge, causing his front wing to just smash, and he went in the gravel trap. So they had to refix that. I think that's the technical issue. It's not that the car is there, but it is that the car is there, but I think they also have to fix it. So that caused some issues. That caused a full safety car, and that was that. But this race was definitely a race of seconds. We have pit stops between Max Verstappen. He was the first out of the top 3, that being Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, and Bottas. So he was the first to pit, and he tried to stay ahead of the following 2. When Bottas pitted, he was a 3.3 second pit stop. Not the best pit stop, but he was just able to stay ahead of Max Verstappen ahead of the pit stop. Yet on cold tires, it was very difficult for him to maintain that lead between them. I think if he had had a faster pit stop and not had his rear axle swing behind him when he was getting out, he would have stayed ahead. So what had happened is when he came out of the pits, he was ahead to turn 1. He had already was starting accelerating out of turn 1 when Max Verstappen was braking. But on the warmer tires, Max Verstappen was able to catch up to him, and Bottas traction control didn't kick in, and he accelerated too fast, causing his rear end to slip out, and Max Verstappen was able to use his tire grip and warmth to catch up to him, and he was capitalizing on that experience and got ahead of him, and he stayed ahead in that second place. It was a very strategic as in maintaining tires during this Grand Prix. Sergio Perez, I think, did an exceptional job of doing that, and I also think Max Verstappen did an exceptional job of it on his tires. You see most of these guys with their pit stop summaries going for 2 pit stops, but then you have those that have to do 3 pit stops. Most notably on them taking just a couple pit stops. I do want to say that most of them did only take 2 or 3 pit stops, while some of them had to take 4. Valtteri Bottas and Max Verstappen being one of those who took 4. But you do have Carlos Sainz, who only took 3, and then you also have Sergio Perez, who only took 3. He took a long stint, mind you. Lap 51 is when he did his 3rd pit stop, and he was one of the first to pit on lap 3. So he had one pit stop on lap 1 during the safety car, I believe, or lap 2. I think that was his second stop. First stop was lap 2. Third stop was lap 2 as well. Yeah, lap 2, I believe. I'm not sure. Lap 3, maybe. Yeah, lap 3. And then he kept that stint until 51, which is just incredible. For him to maintain that tire and come out ahead of everybody else is just absolutely amazing. And that race result kept him in that 4th place. I think this is the kind of strategy that we see from Red Bull coming up, seeing how they can maintain their tires better than Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas can in the Mercedes, because we've seen them struggle with tire grip. I think this is something that can play a key role in strategy and thinking of the game here in F1. I think this is going to be something that we'll see this upcoming weekend in Spain, and then even up to Monaco, which I'm pumped about. I'm so happy for Monaco and Spain. This is going to be a great season. But going on to the driver's standings after this race here. Wait, I didn't even do the final grid. What am I? I'm tripping, man. I'm tripping. I'm talking too fast. Final grid, man. Final grid. Let's go through it. Kimi, DNF. Nikita Mazepin, 19th. Latifi, 18th. Schumacher, 17th. Russell, 16th. Yuki Tsunoda, 15th. Lance Stroll, 14th. Seb, 13th. Giovinazzi, 12th. Carlos Sainz, 11th. Pierre Gasly, 10th. Ricciardo, 9th. Fernando Alonso, 8th. Ocon, 7th. Leclerc, 6th. Norris, 5th. Perez, 4th. Bottas, 3rd. Verstappen, 2nd. And Lewis Hamilton, the reigning world champ, won. Very nice result from him. This contributes to the driver standings as the Brit Lewis Hamilton, Sir Lewis Hamilton, is number 1 with 69 points. Laugh all you want. Max Verstappen is in 2nd place with 61, and then you have Lando Norris behind with 37. Mind you, Lando Norris is in the McLaren Mercedes. Not something that's supposed to be necessarily running for the championship. This is going to mess up my standings so much. It's like absolutely wild. And Ricciardo is in 7th, as we like, and Charles Leclerc is in 5th. I'm just too smart, guys. Ricciardo is going to stay in 7th. Charles Leclerc is going to stay in 5th. I know this. I know this. That's their numbers, man. That's their numbers. That's where they are, like always. But yeah. We're going to see how they do. You have many people just staying low-key. Yuki is the only one is the lowest points in 13th place with 2 points, and then you have everyone else with 0 points. Who is going to be the first to finish in the points? Is it going to be Seb? Is it going to be George? Or is it going to be Giovinazzi? I'm interested to see. Let me know down in the comments who do you think is going to be the first to score some points, because out of those 3, Giovinazzi, Seb, and Russell. Yeah. Let's see who's going to score some points for us. The Great Brit, the German, or the Italian. Going to be interesting to see their team standings. Though Mercedes is 101, Red Bull is 83, and McLaren is 53. Very nice from them. Ferrari and Alpine, very low. AlphaTauri and Aston Martin don't even have 10 points yet. And then the rest of the 3 teams, Alfa Romeo, Williams, and Haas, are just staying there. They're just chilling. But it is okay. It is all right, because we have more races left. We have a bunch more races of this season, and we're going to see what they can do. It's only the beginning, and we have much more to come. If you guys did enjoy, leave a like on the video. Consider subscribing, and can't wait to see what happens this weekend in... Is it Spain? It is Spain. Can't wait to see what happens this weekend in Spain. So guys, catch you on Sunday. Until next time, peace.